All right. So Excel chapter 4. This chapter, it's dealing with called data sets and tables. So one of the things that we use Excel for is using to organize large data sets. And so and managing large volumes of data. And so some of the things that we'll be learning to do is how to freeze columns and rows. Again, that's helpful because you want to have maybe at the top row of your spreadsheet has the names of what the telling you what are in each of the columns, and so it's helpful to be able to have that. So freezing keeps certain rows and columns visible at all times, and again, that helps you know what goes together. So you can freeze the top, you can freeze the first column, the first row. And so in our example, which we'll see when we get into our lesson, you see here that rows 1 through 5 are frozen, and then 6 through 20, they are no longer visible because now we've scrolled up to, what is that, 21? But that helps you to know exactly where you're at. So you know that this is the transaction number, the operator, the sales person's or the sales first name and last name of the customer, the date, the department, what they purchased, etc. It helps you to be able to know and keep things together so you understand what you're looking at. Also, printing large data sets, sometimes you need to print these spreadsheets out, and so there's ways that help you in order to do that and make it a little bit more convenient. And so, for example, you see here that you may have noticed this before, you have a gray dashed line. That's an automatic page break. And so what that's telling you is it's indicating where it would have to, Excel would split it to another page. And then you see here a manual page break, which is the blue. And so that's the page break that you yourself have inserted. In fact, I used to have to do grades this way. I would download an Excel spreadsheet with the grades, and I used to have to format it. Obviously, I need everybody's grade on a separate sheet because I can't give grades to the wrong student. And so that's how I used to use this a lot in order to print the grades. Now I do a mail merge now because they come out at different format. You can also set the print area. So maybe you don't want the entire spreadsheet. You just want to, you're just interested in a certain section. So you can set exactly that section, what it is that you want to print. And then you can set the rows and columns to repeat. So you can have rows at the top of the page and then that repeats. You also can select the page order, if it should be down and then over or over and then down. Again, just how, when it prints out, so it's in order so that you can follow it. One of the things that you can do also is you can use what they call data tables, and that's a function that's available to you within Excel. And the data structure is organization method to manage multiple data points, similar to a database. So for example, when I was in college and I was, and I worked as a student employee, I worked in an office called the Advancement Office that did a lot of fundraising. They did a lot of things dealing with alumni. You're all alumni of Merced College. And so trying to get people connected with what the school's doing, funding, because of course it was a private school, so funding, for things, and et cetera. And so one of the things that we did a lot with data, and some of the data that we had would come from different programs online. We would download it, it would come as an Excel spreadsheet. And so then being able to take that, and then I had to go in and then go into the program that they had, which was called eTapestry, which is a donor relationship customer management system. So I had the spreadsheet and I would have to manually type the information or copy the information from the spreadsheet into this other program. And that's how it came in from like the website. People would update their contact information on the website, or they'd send it in. We'd get that information and we had to put that into our system. So you'll see that a lot. And again, you'll see examples of that when we look at our problem. So you have heading columns remain on screen. That's one of the advantages of having it set as a table. We'll show you that. Sorting and filtering are more efficient. So you can find just, maybe you're interested just in the people that live in Winton, for example. You can sort down to that. Calculated columns make it easy to edit and create formulas. Use table style, easily format tables, so it looks nice. Structured references used in formulas. So you can actually do a formula based upon the name of the column, which would be the field. We'll show you that. Also, the table data can be exported, and maybe we're exporting that because maybe we need to then go ahead and put that into QuickBooks, or maybe we need to put that into some other application. So we can export the table data then into a format then that we can put in another program. I do this a lot, not through Excel, but it's the same concept. I actually do it from Access. So I export it from Access. So for example, like a list of my customers, when we talk about Access, I'll show you an example of a database that I use. I export it from Access as a file. It's not even an Excel file, it's what's called a CSV file. And then I'm able to import that into another program. And so in my case, I imported into a program that I use with a label printer to be able to print labels out for my customers that have addresses and names and stuff. So really handy to be able to export data, because then you can take that data, use it in another completely separate computer application. So that's a handy thing to be able to do. So your table is a group of related data that's organized in rows and columns. The field is the individual piece of data in that column, and the record is the collection that's that row. All right. And so then what you do, first of all, if you want to create your table, is you have your information here. You select that sets the range, and you tell it that it has headers. In this case, the headers would be the transaction name or number, the salesperson's first and last name, the date, the department, and then again, what they purchased, so furniture, the payment type, if they financed it or if they paid it in full, if it was a standard or promotional transaction, and the amount of whatever it was. And so your tables, you can give it a table name. So this table is called totals because this is the total amount of their purchase. And then you can select columns, either certain columns, or you can select all of them to show. In this case, you can use this to remove duplicates. So you don't want to have duplicated information. So you can use this to go ahead and do that. You could also adjust the table style. And so in this example, we see that we can change the color. Maybe I don't like blue. Maybe the Reed Furniture Store, maybe their corporate color maybe is orange. And so they can have the table in orange, all right? Or maybe they're using a printer, it's a black and white printer, so they can choose one of the black ones. They don't need it in color. They're gonna print this out. And then just showing you again, you can do what's called a structured reference in formulas. And so we see here, we're just adding the amount and the down payment. And so the amount and a down payment, that gets us the total. We subtract those two, that gets the total that what they still owe. All right, so we're able then to, instead of using the cell references, we've been doing that as we've been going along, we can now go ahead and use the columns. So the actual field name. And then there's different ways that you can sort data. Again, we'll look at this in more detail in a minute, but you can see that you can sort data, for example, by the value of the sale based on what department, based on the salesperson. So for example, if I was interested maybe in all the sales that Sebastian Gruenwald that he had, I could sort it down specifically to and filter it just to show just the ones that he did, or do that and then group it by each of my salespeople. Again, we'll look at that and some more. And then you can add a total row that goes down at the bottom. So for example, we can figure out, okay, this is the amount that was sold in total. This is the amount of down payment that we received, and then this is the amount, 278,000, looks like 600, and is that 14? Whatever that is, that's the total that we still owe. And so we're looking at an example of a furniture store. It's probably like Rent-A-Center or something, right? So we see that's what we're still owed. Really handy to be able to get that total. We want to, have a picture of how our business is doing. And then you can also do conditional formatting. And so, for example, here, all of them that have the dark red with the red background, we see those are all of our mattresses. So we can sort out and find out, maybe we did a sale on mattresses. We want to find out, you know, how many mattresses did we sell? We can look and see what transactions where we sold mattresses. All right. We could do the same thing here based on, maybe we want to know sales over $12,000. We can sort it and do conditional formatting in order to highlight those particular sales. And then you can do some other types of things as well. You can have icons, you can have color scales and data bars, again, with the conditional formatting, again, just to kind of show you, you can kind of make this work for you. And this is really handy, particularly in the corporate environment. You have a lot of things like what they call dashboards and things to get statistics about certain things. You could do a lot of that within Excel and make things very visual that way. So it's really easy. You can look very precisely and see trends, see exactly what's happening. And then you can create your own rules based on things as well. So again, just in summary, we see that in data stored as a range, you can freeze rows and columns to always display the heading information. And you can convert a range to a table, and that has several advantages. So again, it allows you very easy sorting and filtering. You can add aggregate statistical functions, again, such as this total, very easily. And you can also apply conditional formatting. Turn your book over to page 604. And then what I'll do, I've already downloaded my exercise files. Is you can go ahead and open EO4H1 Read. Okay. All right, so we have our spreadsheet here for the Read Furniture Store. All right, and so again, just note that this spreadsheet, that it contains two worksheets, both the March totals that we'll use for hands-on exercises 1 through 3. And you'll also go ahead and continue in this workbook, but you're going to use the individual March individual when we get over to hands-on exercise 4. Okay. And so what we'll do first is they want us to go ahead and resave it. So I'll go up here to File. And I'll go up here to go down to Save As. And I already, since I opened this from this location, I'm going to go ahead and click that. But if not, you can click Browse to go to the location where you're saving your work. And then I'll just, oh, the cat just ran. So you just add your last name and first name to the file name, and you can click Save. All right. Again, and just make sure you're on the March totals. So you can press the page down button on your keyboard 4 times, and that just shows you can take a look at what we have here. And then what you can do is hit the Control and the Home key, which on my computer, actually, I have to press Control Function and Home because, again, the page down and the page up and the end and the home, those are second functions of my arrow keys because I'm working from a laptop computer. Okay, so now we go hit Control Home. That takes us back up to the very beginning of the worksheet. All right, so now what we need to do is go ahead and click on the View tab in our ribbon, which is near the top of the screen. And then we're going to click on Freeze Panes, which is right here. So we'll click on that, and then you'll see here that there's different options. What we want to do is to freeze the top row. So we'll click on that. Notice on your screen that a dark gray horizontal line displays between 1 and 2. It may be kind of hard to see, but it is there. All right. And then we'll flip on over to 605. So now what we can do is page down. Notice that the text read furniture store, that stays, and then everything else moves. Not very helpful for us right now. Okay. So now what we can do is, oh, and just a side note also, again, because I know we're all using different types of computers. Your screen could look different than the figure 4.8. If you look at 4.8, you'll see some things. Just know that your screen might look different because of your Windows resolution settings. If necessary, controlling right and down until you see the columns and row headings off screen. Okay, because some of us maybe have a gaming monitor, or we have looking at this on a big screen, looking at this on maybe a small laptop, etc. So it may look, what you have may look a little bit different than what I have, and that's okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and go back up here again to view, freeze panes. Right now we'll go ahead and unfreeze the panes. Now what I need to do is I need to click on cell B6. And then I'm going to go back up here again. And again, that is one below the row and one column to the right of what we want to freeze. So then we'll go up here again to view, freeze panes. So we'll go ahead and do freeze panes. You'll notice that Excel displays a vertical line between columns A and B, indicating that A is frozen, horizontal line between 5 and 6, indicating that the first 5 rows are frozen. So then if I hit Control and G, which is go to, and I can type in a reference Q112. And so you notice then it took me over here, but you notice then that I'm now on row 97. Okay. So that's neat that this helps you to know then that you've kept things accordingly. So we'll go ahead and hit the save button to save our work. And then we'll start step 2 over on page 606. So now we're going to go ahead and go Control Home. And then we're going to go ahead and move to cell B6, which is where I'm at. This time what we're going to do is learn how to display and change the page breaks, because you plan to print the data set so that you and Vicki can discuss the transactions in your weekly meeting. Because the large data sheet doesn't fit on one page, you want to see where the automatic page breaks are and then adjust them and insert them as necessary to change your page breaks. So what we'll do, Control Home, we'll go to B6. Then we'll go up here again to the View tab, and then you can click on the Page Break Preview. So if you click on that, your screen's going to change slightly, but you'll see that you have a dashed line going down, and then if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a blue dashed line going here. That's where the page breaks are located. So if we scroll down until you see row 47 below the frozen column labels, or 44, excuse me. So if I scroll down, I'll just do it this way because it wasn't exactly where I wanted. Okay. So we see that there's an automatic horizontal page break between rows 46 and 47, or between 45 and 46. We don't want transactions for a particular day to span between printed pages, so we're going to go ahead and move the page break to keep 313, 18 transactions together. So we'll click on A45. And then we'll go up here to the page layout tab. And then we'll go over here to breaks. And then we'll go ahead and insert a page break. All right. And so now what it's done is it put a page break now in between 45 and 44 and 45. Okay. What you can also do, just so you know, is you can also click and move these anywhere that you need as well. Okay. Now it's black solid like this because we inserted that ourselves. The blue dashed is an automatic one. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and we'll move to cell A59, or A89, excuse me. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And then we'll go up here to the page layout breaks. And then we'll go ahead and insert another page break there. So what that does then is we see this was all from 324. That's the end of that. And then we see the next one in is for 325. So it helps to keep everything grouped together. All right, go over here to 607. So now we want to focus on transactions for March the 1st, 2018. To avoid printing more data than you need, you can set the print area to print transactions for only that day. And you can refer to figure 410 as you complete step 3. All right. So we'll have to go up here to the beginning. So we'll go ahead and select E5 to J15. So there's J and then 15. All right. So now what we can do is should still be on the page layout tab. And then if we click on print area, right here, so print area, and we can click on this set print area. So now we've set that as a print area. So we see here it says page 1. So that will be what would print on page 1. So what we can, oh, yeah, let's do one more thing. So we'll click on E5 and click the scale arrow down to only display 80 to 80%. Okay. Now what we can do is hit Control P on our keyboard, and that opens up the print properties. And then we see here, we get an example over here to the right, we see what it would look like. So if I did hit print, this would be what would come out of. In fact, you know what? I'll do it. You don't need to print it, but I'll just do it just to show you, just because I can. Okay. And then what I can do, okay, and you see here that the window popped up that now it's going to print. Let me go pick that up out of the printer. I'll show you. You don't obviously need to print it, so you can hit escape. It takes you out of it. So if you see here, you can see this is what, so then it only prints just that area. That's pretty nifty, huh? That you can do that. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go back up here to print area. We'll go ahead and clear the print area because we're finished with that. So now we'll save the workbook. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and flip on over to page 608. So only the first page will print both row and column labels. Pages 2 and 3 will print the remaining row labels. Page 4 will print the remaining column labels. Page 5 and 6 will not print either label. You want to make sure, so if you were to print this, which I'm going to show you how, but we're not going to actually print it. But what I will show you is when you print this, realize that this, and I'll just highlight it here on the screen, realize that the row headings description, it's not going to print on each page unless we go in and we tell it that that's what we want. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click on the print titles, again, under the page layout. So this dialog box appears. And then what we want to do is we want to collapse the dialog box to the right side of the rows to repeat at the top. So we'll click on that. And then we'll go ahead and click the row 5 heading. And then we'll go ahead and expand. And then click on the columns to repeat at left. We'll type in A colon B. So that would repeat then columns A and B. And then down here we'll say over and then down. And then we can click on print preview. So again, it brings up our print dialog box, and then we see here, and let me see if I can, I'll move the zoom up to the top. So we see here what this looks like. So then if I click down here, I can get an idea then of what it's going to do. So now it makes it easier. We can see exactly what we would do. If I did want this, I could click print. It would actually print it out. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the back button. And then we're going to go ahead and save our work. All right, so we'll go ahead and start. I'll go ahead and start hands-on exercise 2 with you. So that's over on page 616. All right, so you want to convert the March totals data into a table. As we view the table, you want to delete the unnecessary operator field, add 2 new fields, insert a missing furniture sales transaction, and remove duplicate transactions. Finally, you will enhance the table's appearance by adding a table style. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go up here to File and Save As, and we'll go ahead and resave it. And I'll go ahead and change this from E04H1. I'll go ahead and change this to H2, and I'll click Save. And then what I want to do is make sure that I'm in the normal view. So if I go down here at the very bottom, you have the status bar. If I click on normal, it's going to take me back to the normal view, because before, remember, we were in the page layout view before, print layout view. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go up here to click on Insert. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on Table. So Insert Table. There it is. And so because it's already went ahead, it says, where is the data for your table? That information is correct, and it already has identified that the table has headers. So that's fine, so we'll go ahead and hit OK. If it wasn't, we would have to modify that. So Excel creates a table from the data range, and it displays the table tab, the filter arrows, and so you see the filter arrows and etc. All right. So now what we'll do is, for a couple of these columns, we're going to go ahead and change our column width. So for the sales first last, and I'll hold down the control key, and then for department, pay type, and trans type. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change these to 11. Okay. So again, to select multiple non-adjacent, you just hold down the control key. And then what we can do is we'll go ahead and unfreeze the panes and scroll through the data. So we'll go up here again to the view, and then we'll go over here to freeze panes, and we'll go ahead and unfreeze panes. Okay, because now we don't need that. Notice what happens when I scroll to my columns, the A, B, and C. Notice what happens. They now become the top of the table, the fields. So when a regular range of data, column labels scroll off the top of the screen if you don't freeze the panes. When you scroll within a table, the table's header row remains on screen by moving up to where the Excel column, the letter headings, would normally display. Note that it will not retain the bold formatting when scrolling. So you see it doesn't have the bold formatting or the blue, but you still, makes it easy. You can still figure out what these things are referring to. So we'll go ahead and save our workbook. So we'll go over here to 617. So we'll rename the table. So after creating the table, you will change the name from the default table 1 to a more descriptive name that meets your business standards. So you can refer to figure 418 to complete this step. So we'll go ahead and click on the table tools design. And then right here for the table name, right now it says table 2. We'll clear that and we'll type in there totals. And so again, when a table is created, Excel assigns the default name of table and a sequential number based on the number of tables in a document. For example, if it had 2 tables in a document, it would be table 2. In this step, we've added a custom name that we'll use throughout the rest of the project. All right, so we've done that. All right, so now what we need to do is we're going to add and delete fields. So the original range included a column in a column for the data entry operator's initials. You will delete this column because you don't need it for your analysis. In addition, you want to add a field to display down payment amounts in the future. So what we'll do is we'll click on any cell that has within the operator column. So right here. Okay. So you, for example, you could click on cell B6. And then what you can do is we'll go up here to the Home tab. And then on the delete arrow under the cells, go to delete, and you can delete the table column. So make sure you select that and it's the table column. So you notice now that the operator column now no longer displays. All right, so if we flip on over to page 618, we can then go ahead and adjust the widths of columns E, F, and G to auto fit. So we'll select those, and then we'll go up here to under Home, Cells, Format. We'll go ahead and auto fit the column width. And then we'll click on J5, which is the first one, which is the first blank cell to the right of the field names. So we'll type in down_pay, and then we'll hit Control Enter. So we just made a new column. And then we'll go ahead and go over here to K5. We'll type in another column, Ode. And we'll hit Control Enter. And then we'll go over to I5, or L5, excuse me. Oh no, we're done with that. Okay, so we just wanted those two, down payment and Ode. So now we'll go to I5 right here. We'll go ahead and click on, again, under Home, the Format Painter. We'll go ahead and select that. And then we'll go ahead and select J5 and K5. We just want to changed. And notice now instead of white, now the text is in black. So we want to go ahead and save our workbook. Okay, so now on step 4 on page 618, as you review the March 2018 transaction table, you notice that 2 transactions are missing, 2018-068 and 2018-104. After finding the paper invoices, you're ready to add records for the missing transaction data. And again, you can refer to the figure 4.20 as you complete step 4. All right, so we'll go ahead and click on go down to cell A78. Because that's where that's where the gap is. So then we'll go up here again, make sure we're on the home tab, and then we'll go to the insert arrow under cells, and we'll insert table row above. All right, and then we can go ahead and type in the following data. So 2018-068 and hit tab. Sebastian Gruenwald, 3/22/2018. He sold a bedroom department. He sold a mattress, and it was paid in full, standard, $3,200. And then we have to go ahead and add one more record. So we'll go down to A114, just down here at the very bottom. We'll add in the following transactions. So 2018-103, 104, that's 104, Ambrose, Sardellis, oops, and then that was sold on 3/31/2018. Appliances, and it was a refrigerator, and it was paid in full, standard, for $1,500. Now, when you start typing 2018-104 in the row below the last record, Excel immediately includes the format row 104 as part of the table. Review figure 4.20 to ensure that you inserted the records in the correct location. In the figure, rows 108 to 104 are hidden to display the new records in one screenshot. So you can go ahead and save the workbook. So once you have entered both of those records, you can go ahead and save your workbook. All right, so we're over on page 619. So we need to remove duplicate records. So you notice that the 2018-006 transaction is duplicated on rows 11 and 12, and that the 2018-018 transactions are duplicated on rows 24 and 25. You think the table may contain other duplicate rows. To avoid having to look at the entire table row by row, we have Excel find and remove the duplicate rows for you. And so again, you can refer to figure 4.21 as you complete step 5. So then we'll go ahead and click any cell within the table. And then we'll go ahead and scroll to 11 and 12. And so right here, you see that, I'll just highlight them for you. You see that there's a duplication there. So what we'll do is we'll go again up to Table Tools Design. And then we'll go ahead and find here under Tools, Remove Duplicates. And we can click Select All so that everything is selected. And then we can go ahead and click OK. Then Excel brings up this box. It says that 5 duplicate values found and removed, 104 unique records remain. That's fine. So we'll go ahead and click OK. So now if you go down to A109, you'll notice to view the last record, save the workbook. So transaction 2018-104 is now on row 109 after the duplicate records were removed. Or if we go up here to 11 and 12, I'll show you. You notice that now there's just one there. Okay, so now we can go ahead and save our workbook. All right, so now we'll go ahead and apply a table style. Now that you've finalized the fields and added missing records to the March 2018 transaction table, you want to apply a table style to format the table. And again, we'll refer to figure 4.22 as you complete step 6. So we'll go ahead and click, make sure that we're within the table. So we'll click within the table. Again, we'll go up here to the Table Tools Design, and then let me collapse this down. And you'll see here under Table Styles, there's this button at the very bottom, More. So we'll click on that. And then we'll find the one that is Table Style Medium 3. So under Medium, which is the third style in the first row. So it's the one I have, Orange Table Style Medium 3. So we'll go ahead and click on that. But just notice, just for fun, I'll notice if you can kind of, if you hover, notice it gives you a preview. But this is the one we want. So Orange Table Style Medium 3. So we'll click on that to set that. And then we'll go ahead and hit Control Home. And that takes us to the beginning. And then we'll select the range of A1 to A3. I'm sorry, A1 to C1. So A1 to C1, then we'll go up here, select the fill color arrow in the font group, and we'll select Orange Accent 2, just to make everything color coordinated. So now you've applied a fill color for the table to match the fill color of the field names on the header row. And then you can save the workbook, and then again, we'll keep it open. Go ahead and flip on over to page 629. They'd like us, so we're at page 629, and then we'll go ahead and resave it. So we'll go up here to File, we'll go up down to Save As, and then we'll go ahead and save this as E04H3 now. All right, so now what we'll do is, this time what we're going to do is we'll learn how to create structured references in a formula. So first you want to calculate the total down payment owed by each customer. You will then calculate the total amount owed by subtracting the down payment amount from the total down payment amount, the total down payment. You will use structured references to complete these tasks. Refer to figure 4.31 as you complete step 1. So we'll go ahead and click on cell J6. Move that out of the way. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and type in a formula. So we'll press the equal sign. And then in brackets, in square brackets, we'll type in amount. And then close bracket. Make sure, again, you stay on. Notice then, if you've done this correctly, that that entire column should be displayed. And so in this case, it should be highlighted in blue. And then we'll multiply, which is the asterisk, $D, $3. And so again, that would be the down payment requirement, which is 25%. So then if we press enter, it'll automatically calculate that. All right. So then what we want to do then is go ahead and select J6 and K through K109. So we'll go ahead and select both of those columns. And then we'll make sure we're on the home tab, and we'll go ahead and click on the comma style in order to set those as the comma style. And then we'll go ahead and save the workbook. And then we'll go ahead and flip on over to page 630. So now you want to compare the number of transactions by sales rep, so you can sort you'll sort the data by the sales last field. After reviewing the transactions by sales rep, you will then want to apply a range of transactions so that the ones for the largest purchases first follows purchases last. So we'll go ahead and click on the arrow next to the sales last field, and then we'll select sort A to Z. So notice then what it did. So now all of Chantel's transactions are together, all of Jade's transactions are together, Sebastian's and Ambrose. Okay, they're all grouped together. Now what we need to do is we'll click on the amount filter arrow, so amount right here. So we'll click on the filter arrow. And then what we need to do is we're going to sort largest to smallest. Now the records are no longer sorted by last name. When you sort by another field, the previous sort is not saved. In this case, Excel arranges the transactions from the one with the largest amount to the smallest amount, indicated by the down arrow next to it. So you see the little down arrow there. So we see here that the largest purchase was $17,500. Okay, then we'll go ahead and save our workbook, and then we'll flip on over to page 631. So you want to review the transactions by payment type, either if they were financed or if they were paid in full. Within each payment type, you further want to compare the transaction type if it was promotion or standard. Finally, you want to compare costs within the sorted records by displaying the highest costs first. You will use the sort dialog box to perform the 3 levels of sort. Refer to figure 4.33 as you complete step 3. All right. So what we'll do now is we'll make sure that we click inside our table, because that's where we need to be. And then we'll go ahead and click on the data tab, the data tab. So notice again, you have the tabs across the top. So we're going to click on the data tab. And then we'll go ahead and click on sort. And then this brings this up. So then sort by arrow, and we'll choose the pay type. And then we'll go ahead and then on the order, we'll change that to A to Z. So you start by specifying the column for the primary sort. In this case, you want to sort the records first by the payment type. And so then we'll go ahead and click to add level. And so then we'll choose trans type. And again, it's default A to Z, and that's fine. So it'll sort them by finance or paid in full. And then within the pay type, it will be promotion or standard. So then we'll go ahead and click and add another level. And then we'll go ahead and select order or amount. So by amount. And then for the order, we'll do largest to smallest. Then we'll click OK. Notice then that it will do it by the trans type. Trans type, which is going to be promotion or standard. And then it's going, or pay type first. So the pay type was finance or paid in full. And then the promotion type, which is either promotion or a paid or standard, and then by the amount. So what we find out by looking at this is we find out that most customers finance their purchases instead of paying in full. So if we scroll down, we'll see way more finance purchases. And then we also see that for finance transactions, more than half are promotional sales. So that really, people want to finance when we're offering a special promotion. And then for merchandise paid in full, a majority of the transactions were standard sales, indicating that people with money do not necessarily wait for a promotion to purchase merchandise. So if you have the money to pay in full, you're going to go ahead and pay in full regardless. You're not going to wait for when there's a special. All right, so we'll go ahead and flip on over to 632. So we'll go ahead and create a custom sort. So for the month of March, you want to closely monitor the dining room and living room departments, because maybe we're running a special, we're really doing a lot of advertising based on living room furniture and dining room furniture. So after completing the previous sort, you can add an additional level to create a custom sort of the department data. And so you can refer to figure 4.34 as you complete step 4. So then what we'll do is, again, make sure that we're inside the table. We'll go up here to data, and then we'll go click on sort. And then this time, we're going to click the last level added prior. So right here. And then we'll go ahead and add level. So we have to click on the amount first, and then we'll go add level. So it opened up this. So then we'll go down here to department. And then for order, this time we're going to click on custom list. So then it's going to bring this other dialog box up. So we want to do a new list. So we'll make sure new list is selected. And then we'll go ahead and click in the box here for list entries, and then we'll type in dining room. Now, it's going to be important that you take your time, that you take your time and you spell these correctly, because otherwise you're going to have issues if it's not spelled and written exactly as it is. Living room, comma, bedroom, comma, and appliances. So make sure I did that correctly. All right, so we have that because we want it sorted in that order. And then we can click add. So that's going to add it to our custom lists. And then we'll click OK. And then we'll click OK again. So now it'll be sorted by living room, furniture. So the list now will be the same thing, but it'll be sorted in by living room and dining room furniture, bedroom and appliances as the last step. And then we'll go ahead and save our work. And then if you flip on over to 633, so we'll apply text filters. Now that you know Jade Gallagher had the most transactions for March, you want to filter the table to focus on just her sales. You notice that she sells more merchandise from the dining room department, so you will filter out all of the other departments. Refer to figure 4.35 as you complete step 5. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click on the sales last first filter arrow. And then we will click on select all right here. That deselects everybody. So then we'll go ahead and click on Gallagher because we're only interested in her sales. So now the status bar, which, let me see. don't see that. They say the status bar indicates 33 out of 104 records meet the condition. I don't see that, but I'll take their word for it. So that's fine. So we'll go ahead and click OK. Oh, right here. So after we click OK, it tells me 33 out of 104 records, status bar. Okay. So that's telling me there's more information there, but we're only looking at Jade Gallagher's transactions. So then what we want to do is we're interested in just her dining room sales. So we'll go over here to the department. We'll hit select all to go ahead and clear all the selection. And we'll just go ahead and select dining room because we're interested in just Jade's dining room sales. So then we'll click OK. We notice then that we have 15 of 104 records. We have 15 records then of all the dining room furniture that she sold. So she sold dining room table and chairs, just dining room tables. She sold some china, a couple china hutches, and then a couple things of bar stools. All right. So now we're going to look a little bit further into this. So Vicki, who's the owner of Reed Furniture, she's interested in giving a bonus to employees who sold high-end dining room furniture during a specific period, which would be from March the 16th, 18 to March the 31st of 18. You want to determine if Jade qualifies for the bonus. In particular, you're interested in how much gross revenue she generated for dining room furniture that cost at least $5,000 or more. And so we'll go ahead and you can refer to figure 4.36 as you complete step 6. So we'll go ahead and select the range of I-14 to I-108. Okay. And then if we look down here, we see that the average sale was 3,754 with 15 transactions. Okay. So it gives you some statistics down here at the bottom and the bottom right of the status bar. So then we'll click on the amount filter arrow. And then we'll point to number filters. And then we'll go ahead and say greater than or equal to. And then the custom auto filter dialog box is displayed. We'll type in there 5,000. To the right, into the box to the right of is greater than or equal to. And then we'll click OK. So then we see the number of transactions that she had. Okay. So now when typing numbers, you can type raw numbers such as 5,000 or formatted numbers like $, 5 with a comma and then 3 zeros. Out of Gallagher's original 15 dining room transactions, only 5 transactions, or 1/3 of her sales, were valued at $5,000 or more. So we'll go ahead and save our workbook. And then we want to do a date filter. Finally, you want to study Jade Gallagher's sales records for the last half of the month. So you can add a date filter to identify those sales records. And again, you can refer to figure 4.37 as you complete step 7. So we'll click on the date filter arrow. And then we'll go to date filters between. So then we can specify the 2 dates between. So we can type in there 3/16/2018 and then 3/31/2018. And again, I just hit tab to get down there, or you could click. So we enter in those dates. We'll click OK. We're going to find out that Gallagher only had 2 dining room sales that were greater than 5,000 in that last half of March. And then we'll go ahead and save our workbook. We'll keep the workbook open because we're going to go ahead and continue on to hands-on exercise 4. Over to 646, and then we'll go up here to File, Save As. And then we're going to save this as EO4H4 read. Okay, And then we'll go ahead and select the March individual worksheet. And we notice already that this is already set up as a table and it was already fixed up for us. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on any cell in the table. And then we're going to go to, so we'll go up here to Table Tools Design. So we'll click on that in the ribbon. And we'll check this box under the table style options to add a total row. So that adds a total row down here to the bottom. So now we'll click on under the pay down. So I wasn't actually selected in the table, so I had to actually go up and select the table. But you see here, pay down right here. So if we go down here in the total roll, we'll go ahead and click there. Notice there's a little arrow that appears. We'll click on the arrow and then we'll choose sum. So what you've done there is you've added a total to the down pay field. And so again, the total down payment we've collected is $190,602.50. The formula, if you look up here at the formula bar, displays as equals subtotal 109, comma, amount, and the that's anyway, subtotal 109 and then the down pay. We're going to end up doing the same thing here for amount. So we'll go ahead and click on amount under the last one here for that. There we go. All right. So then what we're going to do, if you flip on over to page 647, is we're going under the sales last arrow. We're going to click on that. And then we're going to go ahead and click the select all. And then we're going to go ahead and choose Gruenwald because we're interested in their sales. So then if we click OK, and if we go down, you'll notice then that the total rows then total, but just for Sebastian's sales. So just his sales, then it gives us the total for that. So then what we'll do is we'll click under, let's see, data. And then we'll click under the sort and filter, we'll click clear. And so that clears everything. And then we'll save our workbook because we were done with that. All right, so now under 647 is we want to apply highlight cell rules. So you want to identify Sebastian's sales for March 2018 without filtering the data. You will add a conditional format to apply a fill and a font color so cells that document appliance sales stand out. And so then you'll refer to figure 4.48 as you complete step 2. So then we'll go ahead and select the cell headings, the row headings for 6 through 109. Okay. On that March individual worksheet, and then we'll be sure to click on the Home tab. We'll click on the fill color arrow and we'll choose no fill. Remove the previous table style. This helped to avoid having too many fill colors when you apply the additional formatting rules. All right. So then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and select cells C6 to 109. And then we'll go ahead and click again under the Home tab, Styles, Conditional Formatting. And then we want the Highlight Cell Rules. and we'll select text, oops. We'll select text that contains. So we'll click on that. And then we want to type in the word Sebastian. And that already, for me, it was already filled in there, which is odd, but whatever. Maybe because I already had selected that cell, but we'll make sure that it says that with, and then we'll click on the arrow. We'll choose green fill with dark green text. And then we can click OK. And we can deselect the range and save our workbook. Excel formats only cells that contain Sebastian with the fill and font color. So we know that only his sales now are light green with a dark green font. All right, so then we'll flip on over to page 648. So we're going to specify. Now, Vicki is interested in identifying the highest 3 sales transactions in March. Instead of sorting the records, you can use the top and bottom rules, conditional formatting. And so you can refer to figure 4.49 as you complete step 3. So we'll go ahead and choose the range of I-6 to I-109, which is the amount. So we'll choose that. And again, we'll make sure we're on the Home tab. We'll go up here to conditional formatting. And then we'll point to top and bottom rules. And then we'll select the top 10 items. We don't want 10 items, we want the 3 items. So we'll go ahead and change this to the top 3 items. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. So now the top 3 sales then are highlighted with a light red or pink background with the dark red text. All right, so now we'll go ahead and display the data bars. So on page 649, step 4, display data bars. Vicki wants to compare all of the down payments. Data bars would add a nice visual element as she compares down payment amounts. So refer to figure 4.50 as you complete step 4. So we'll go ahead and select the range J6 to J109, which would be the down payment amounts. So we'll go ahead and select that data. And then we'll go up here again under Home, under Styles, Conditional Formatting, Data Bars, and we're going to choose the purple data bars. But again, you can hover and kind of get an idea. You can see what the other ones look like. We want the purple one, so we'll choose the purple data bars. Excel displays data bars in each cell. The largest bar widths help Vicki quickly identify the largest down payments. However, the largest down payments are identical to the original amounts when the customer pays in full. This result illustrates that you should not accept the results at face value. Doing so would provide you with an inaccurate analysis, because in this case you're seeing that they paid it in full. And again, you notice too, for example, if you look at this one, notice that Ambrose, he sold a bedroom set that was for $11,972. So we see the data bar goes all the way. But if you look at the next one here, Chantel also sold a bedroom furniture set, but hers was only $4,125. There's a problem here because you notice that the bar doesn't go all the way to the right, but yet it was paid completely in full. And so if you just take it on face value, you're going to come up with an inaccurate analysis. or you just want to be aware of that, of what you're looking at. Okay, so we'll flip on over to page 650. So we'll use a formula in conditional formatting. Vicky's next request is to analyze the amounts owed by Sebastian's customers. In particular, she wants to highlight the merchandise that has more than $5,000 is owed. To do this, you realize you need to create a custom rule that evaluates both the sales first column and the owed column. So you can refer to figure 4.51 as you complete step 5. So what we'll do now is we'll go up here and we'll select the range of F6 to F109. So we'll look at all the different furniture items. And then we'll go ahead and click up here to conditional formatting. And this time what we'll do is we'll go down here to this new rule. And then we'll select use a formula to determine which cells to format. And then for the formula, you'll type in the following: equals and then open parenthesis C6 equals and then you'll put in open quotation mark Sebastian, closed quotation mark, a comma, and K6 is greater than 5,000. Closed parenthesis. I know that that's confusing. That's in step D of 650. And you need to make sure that you type it in exactly as this is with no spaces. All right. So that's the formula that we want it to use. And then right now it would format it as this, it wouldn't do anything. So we need to go click on the format button, and that's going to open up this dialog box. So what we want to do is make sure to be on the font tab, and we'll click bold. We want it to be bold. And then we'll click on border tab, and then for the color of the border, we'll choose blue accent 5. Which is this one. And then we'll click on outline. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but there is a blue outline there of the cell. And then we'll click on the fill tab, and we'll choose blue accent 5, the background color. And you notice here the sample of what it would look like. And then we'll click OK. So figure 4.51 shows the edit formatting rule dialog box, but the options are similar to the new formatting rule dialog box. All right, so we see here we've done that. So then we'll go ahead and click OK. So notice now that in the new formatting rule dialog box, click OK in that. You'll notice then the amounts greater for Sebastian only. So refrigerator, oven, microwave combo, we're still owed $7,500. For a bedroom set, we're still owed $5,643.75, for example. And there's a couple others. All right. So now, and again, if for some reason that's not right, you can click on conditional formatting, select manage rules. You can edit the rule that you just created and correct anything with that formula if you need to. We're finished, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click on the save button to save our work, and you can close the file. And then what I'd like for you to do is to go ahead and submit this then to Canvas.